Good Friday morning, everybody. There's lots to talk about, and let's dive into our show, which is sponsored by HB Neal Construction. Looking at radar, thanks to Do Good Credit Union, we can see some isolated showers. Now we've got some storms pushing into the area. A very small coverage right now, very isolated, but we expect this will pick up later on this morning, getting into the afternoon hours. Let's take a look at 98L. This has been in the southern Gulf, now pushing towards northern Mexico and South Texas later on this afternoon into the evening time. Pretty impressive on satellite here, sponsored by Modern Concrete and Materials. This is getting pretty close to tropical depression status, but it's running out of time because it will make landfall later on this afternoon into the evening time hour. So it really doesn't matter what the development is. This is going to bring rain into South Texas, parts of the Texas Hill Country, and even rain here locally in Southeast Texas and Southwest Louisiana. 50% coverage today and 50 to 60% coverage likely tomorrow. So we can see it makes landfall, continues pushing right along the Texas and Mexico border, and that leftover energy gets into parts of the Texas Hill Country, just bringing isolated to scattered showers and storms across this region. Down there in South Texas, they will tell you they definitely want some of that isolated to scattered showers and storms. Current temperatures, sponsored by Dana Simmons Real Estate Team, is showing it's currently 77 degrees here in Beaumont, 78 in Lake Charles, 80 degrees in Houston. And if we go down towards the coast, it is into the low to mid 80s. Sabine Pass off to the warm start, 87 degrees. And if you look over towards Abbeville and New Iberia, they're into the upper 70s already. Now, construction forecast is sponsored by Neutron Electrical Services. No big concerns this morning. Very, very isolated. It's not until we get into the afternoon hours, or really the lunchtime into the afternoon hours, we start seeing it jump up to 30% coverage, 40% coverage, and we expect this will max out around 50% coverage later on today. So just keep that in mind throughout the day today. We are expecting some scattered showers and storms getting into our region. So here's our upper level flow map today. You can see 98L making its landfall later on this afternoon into the evening time hours. High pressure ridge is forcing it to go into that region. This is one of the main reasons this isn't going into Southeast Texas or Southwest Louisiana. That high pressure is shoving it down into northern Mexico and South Texas. Now let's take a look at Tuesday. We still have that flow coming from the east. That means even though that high pressure is going to be bringing hotter temperatures early to mid next week, we're still going to continue to see some isolated showers and storms thanks to the flow coming out of the east. Let's also slide over to the east. You can see a very large, powerful, major hurricane. That is Erin. Erin will split the difference between that gap between the two high-pressure ridges, and this will curve away not only from the Bahamas, but likely curve away from the East Coast. But we do still see some impacts along the Bahamas and the East Coast. Going to be some pretty big waves, so this is something to think about. Rip currents and land erosion can be an issue. Might have some tropical storm force wind gusts towards the Bahamas, but we're not expecting any big, huge impacts by any means for the Bahamas and the East Coast. Let's slide over to the moisture field that we have. We see that 98L is bringing the moisture to South Texas, even here in Southeast Texas and Southwest Louisiana, not only today, but also on Saturday as well, too. And even as we get into early to middle of next week, rain chances are sticking around thanks to that flow coming out of the east, just keeping at least 40 to 50% coverage alive here locally. And again, look far to the east. That is a very large hurricane as Erin passes close by to the east coast, but it is offshore. They're going to get some pretty big waves. There's no doubt about it over there on the East Coast. Now let's talk about our future cast today, sponsored by Do Good Credit Union. We know we've got some isolated showers as we get into the later morning hours, should get pretty active, and we get into the afternoon, we expect 50 to 60% coverage. Later on tonight, dies down, and then on Saturday, we've got that moisture from 98L. We've got the heat of the day, so we expect more isolated to scattered showers and storms on Saturday as well, too. So rain just sticking around not only today, Saturday, Sunday, and even lingering into next week. Somewhat of a roller coaster ride. The highest chance for rain is today and tomorrow, and then the coverage just kind of lingers around, sticks around. And again, once we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that flow comes out of the east and pretty high levels of moisture pushes in. So in other words, rain's just not going away, just like it's been doing the last couple of weeks. It just won't officially go away. But there are some areas that need it. You start getting into the 90s and you don't get any rain, you dry out fairly quickly. High temperatures today here in Beaumont will be at 93, Lake Charles in the mid 90s. You look over towards the west, they'll be at 93 in Houston, but the areas that will be into the mid to upper 90s likely will be Spring, Conroe, Livingston, Woodville. These areas can get a little bit warmer or hotter, I guess you could say, later on this afternoon. Low temperatures tonight in the lakes region will be into the low 70s. Down towards the coast will be into the low to mid 80s. Here locally in Beaumont and Lake Charles, we will be into the mid to upper 70s. We've been talking about, Aaron, it's getting pretty close to hurricane strength. We'll actually take a look at what Recon has just found. But here is the latest guidance from the National Hurricane Center. Still expected to become a hurricane today, if not very soon, the next hour or two. And this will be a major hurricane this weekend, and then a large, powerful Category 4 hurricane early next week. Gets pretty close to the Bahamas, but will stay east of them. Should stay east of the East Coast as well, too. I would say that Erin is going to be putting on a show on satellite once we get into this weekend and early next week. It is going to be large and fairly impressive on the satellite imagery. And looking at satellite imagery of it right now, sponsored by Neutron Electrical Services, you can see lots of convection, pretty good spin. We can also see some hot towers, those white and pink. That is showing us some very intense thunderstorms that's ongoing, that is really circling around that eye that's trying to develop. Here's the hurricane hunters. They're in there right now. Let's see what it is that they have found so far. Yep, okay, if you look up there at the top, the winds, so the pressure is still somewhat high. We're seeing that this is getting pretty close to hurricane status. It's already showing that 76 mile per hour winds have been found with Erin. So I would expect that the next update from the National Hurricane Center, this would possibly be officially the first hurricane of the season. So we'll continue to watch and see what Recon gathers this morning. Have a couple more flights later on this afternoon into the evening time hours. So a lot of good data we're going to be getting on Erin from Recon. But it looks like it's already pushing on the envelope of a hurricane. Again, here we are, major hurricane as we get into Monday, a large major hurricane, Category 4 at that time on Monday. But it should stay east of the Bahamas and east of the East Coast. So no huge impacts are expected. But again, they probably will get some pretty large waves along the East Coast. Land erosion and dangerous rip currents are definitely in the forecast. What's in the forecast here locally in Southeast Texas, sponsored by Do Good Credit Union HB Neal. Rain is going to be in the forecast really the next 3, 4, 5 days. Even if you extend it to 7 days out, we just continue to see the rain. Highest chance is going to be today and tomorrow, but it just continues to stick around throughout the next 7 days. Southwest Louisiana, same thing. I think the only big change that we're going to see is Monday through Thursday of next week. Temperatures just get a little bit warmer. That high pressure ridge is going to be overhead, bringing in some of that heat into our area. But rain chances can give you some cool downs if you do get the rain. So getting a little bit warmer, but rain chances do stick around. Lots of information there. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. We'll have more updates throughout the day. Don't work too hard. Stay cool. See y'all again.